right, rocking on into another edition of the Lowco Diamond Dudes. I am Justin Jarrett, joined as always by Wes Kerr and Butch Mullis. Butch Mullis, whichever way you know him. It's a mixed bag out there, but there's a funny story behind that we'll have to share someday about a golf superintendent who already had a Butch, right? So you had to go buy something different.
Several of them.
Common name in the golf superintendent world, I guess. But
my mom did my resume, so she used my real name. So
there we go.
You just stuck with the resume name.
Well, we are talking some baseball and softball here on Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday. We got a lot going on around the area. Not a ton baseball and softball wise, but certainly we've got the Dixie Youth Baseball the district tournaments up and running. We got the softball tournaments going. We only have one local softball team left. I think the 8U girls from Bluffton got to win one to get back into the championship game. 12U girls made a nice run and bowed out in the championship last night against Monk's Corner, which, baseball or softball, Monk's Corner's usually got a pretty good squad up there. They do a good job of grassroots community stuff as far as that baseball and softball goes, feeding into Berkeley. But we've also got some guys we know, Melissa up there at Cooperstown this week, and then me and the Waves boys are headed up that way next week. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then, Wes, you've got us a special guest today, a Savannah Banana in the flesh, Eric Jones, that you knew from Davidson. So looking forward to a great show. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. I've been busy these last few weeks doing some PA announcing over at Oscar Frazier Park. We did the youth rookie tournament this past week where Bluffton American came out on top, moving on to the state tournament in the first ever 6U event, which was, it was interesting. Obviously, it's a very young age bracket to be playing competitive tournaments in, but I thought the kids handled it well. We saw some excellent fielding, some excellent all-around heads-up baseball. I mean, these kids knew how to play the game. They made some nice, force out when they got the opportunity. They're making contact with the ball. Obviously, it's tough to build a team to compete at that young of an age, but really impressed with what I saw from all the teams, but especially Bluffton American. They'll be heading on to the state tournament next month. And then going on right now, we got the Ozone District Tournament. Hilton Head Bluffton still undefeated. Both teams winning in pretty dominant fashion to get to this point. Hilton has already won twice. Bluffton only had to play once because of the bracket. So they'll face off tentatively today, although it looks like we may have some inclement weather in the forecast. So
looking pretty dicey today. Yeah. The old Sand Fleas are supposed to have a game tonight over in Beaufort, but I'm not liking our odds to get that one in. It's already pretty muddy over there on Monday, so we'll see what happens. But that Ozone matchup between Hilton Head and Bluffton is interesting. I think
is that
Hilton
tonight?
Head is probably it's supposed to be tonight at 6, but we'll see about the weather. I think Hilton Head having to play a second game makes that a lot more even matchup than it maybe would have been. I think Hilton Head's a little more experienced and a little more polished, has a little bit more on the mound. But with Bluffton only having to play one game to get there, they're going to have Zach Shipshack lined up to pitch tonight. He's pretty good, and he's a guy who can definitely keep them in that game. And they swung the bats really well the other night. So we scrimmaged that all-star team last week, and there's some talent on there. I mean, it's raw. There's not a ton of kids who have played a lot of travel baseball, but those kids can play. They can swing it. They're confident, and they've got some good leadership with guys like Shipshack, who's been to a couple World Series, and David Elliott's on our Waves team. He's really doing a good job with them. So, and then some other kids who haven't played much travel ball who've jumped up this year. Angel Breve Mesas is a kid I coached years ago, and he's just had a great attitude, and it just wasn't quite coming together yet, but it has now. So there's a bunch of guys on that team that are doing a great job and working hard, and hopefully they can give that Hilton Head team a run, make it a fun game at least.
How about that solid home run from Espinoza and the cleanup spot? Absolutely no
big
data
poppy
over the center field fence. That guy can swing it.
That dude is legit. Have you seen him, Mullis, the Espinoza kid?
I saw him come over and watch. Is he on the Bluffton team or the
Hilton Head? The Hilton Head kid.
I don't know. I hadn't seen him, but he looked big when I saw the pictures.
And
he is a monster.
came in on the mound and finished it off pitching. So
yeah, they've got a strong team. Espinoza and Sparger are both really good pitchers, and then they've got some other guys who can get it done too.
When you
So
go down and
it's
play
gonna
at
be
the crossings, you don't have to look long to see the amount of success that's come through that place.
And yeah, I mean, they've got it from an organizational standpoint. They've really got it on lockdown. The way they keep their Hurricanes teams basically just roll into their all-star teams, and they've really got a good chemistry when they get to that point. So, going to be a good matchup
I'll tell you
there.
what, though, although it didn't go their way, I thought Colleton County really impressed by the way they play defense. You don't always see those sound units defensively who can scoop up balls and make some strong throws over to the bases. But thought Colleton looked really good in that department, just unable to solve that talented Hilton Head pitching. But I expect that team to find a way to look to bounce back in the losers bracket. Of course, you got Jasper and Beaufort, the winner of that one, taking on Colleton.
Jasper won that. Jasper came back and won that game 17-13, and that's a great story going on with that Jasper team. It's a tragic story. It's a really sad story. A young man who played in that league this season was killed in a four-wheeler accident this weekend. And I guess his nickname was Rabbit. Braden Tyndall's a young man's name, and a good friend of one of our ball players, and he was pretty, devastated by the news. But they've really rallied around him. They had, playing for Rabbit. I guess his nickname was Rabbit. They had playing for Rabbit signs out there last night. Had stickers on their helmet, and came back and got a big win. So, I mean, it's a terrible situation, but it's awesome that those kids have something positive to hang their hat on during a tough time, and they get another shot if we get it in tonight against Colleton County. So that'll be a battle to see who gets to survive and advance. But I'll tell you what, that 8U Bluffton girls softball team is pretty strong. They can swing it. It's coach pitch, so I got fooled by the game changer. I was like, dang, this girl threw 25 strikes and 29 pitches in 8U, and then I realized it was coach pitch. So I was about ready to anoint her the next great thing, but never mind.
Take an L screen with you.
But I think they'll win tonight, and then they'll if they get it in up there, and then they'll have a doubleheader. They'll need to win twice against Moncks Corner, but they lost 14-13 last night, so all bets are off. Coach pitch, evenly matched teams, anything can happen. So it's always fun to see these all-star tournaments, and having been a part of a few of them as a coach, and as my son as a player, it's just a cool thing to get to represent your town, and more people than you can imagine come out and cheer you on. It's just a really neat thing that these kids get to be a part of, and especially if you advance on to a state tournament or a World Series, you're really just making amazing memories. So really excited for all these young men and women getting the opportunity, and hopefully it sparks a fire in them to keep playing and try to play at a higher level and continue to improve. But
I mean, it's a lifelong moment. This is what you remember as a kid. I mean, what you talked about earlier with Truman and that journey that you went on with him all the way to the Dixie Youth World Series. You can't beat those memories like that, especially seeing what he was able to do to help that team get to the point that they ended up getting to. It's just some great moments, great memories. That was a heck of a team. I remember a couple of years ago, watched some of those games over there in Bluffton before they advanced and won the state tournament. I mean, this is it's a great community event. Get all these parents, just community members in general, come over and watch some kids who are really passionate about the game play baseball. There's nothing, and softball. There's nothing better than it.
Well, and it almost always starts with the All-Stars, right, Mullis? I don't know about your origin stories, but for me, I coached an 8U All-Star team when we were 7, and Truman was an alternate, and we went 2 in a queue, and I said, okay, well, we got to get more kids playing more baseball. And, the next year we have both of our Bluffton teams in the district championship. We both go to the state tournament. The other team goes on to the World Series, and we made it to the Final Four at state, and it just took off from there. And I've seen that happen with the younger age groups too. They get to that district tournament, they have a little bit of success, but they fall short, and they go, all right, well, what do we got to do to win this thing next year? And they get to work. So it's an awesome thing. And then you get to see them progress. And now we're at 12U, and that's kind of the big year. And for a lot of teams, Cooperstown is the destination. That's kind of the coup de grace of 12U. And we've got a couple teams out of Georgia that have a good bit of Lowco flavor on them playing up there right now. And in fact, the 5-star Wilson team out of Savannah that has Derek Blessey, a kid we've known since I coached him first when we were 5 years old, I think. He's a stud, and he's going to be a dude. Mullis, you know him. His team got the number 2 seed out of 86 or 88 or whatever it was in pool play. And then another team, Diamond Elite out of Georgia, that has a couple of kids that came up with this, Nick Ferrugia and Colt Harper. Colt has since moved over to Georgia, but they both came up with us with our Waves team back when we were 8. And they are still going. They got the number 5 seed. Going undefeated in pool play, and then they have won their first couple of bracket games. So they're in the quarterfinals at noon today. Yeah, any minute now they'll be getting going in the quarterfinals, and I think they got enough juice to maybe get to the finals. So they hit 11 home runs in a game last night. It was bananas.
Yeah, and it's all about pitching. I mean, if you have the depth and you have like the top end talent especially, but you have those depth guys that can push you over the top when you have to worry about all those pitch count numbers
or 10-run roll your way through it.
Yeah,
that's the key.
Yeah.
If you only got to play 3 innings a game, you got a lot more pitching left at the other end. But if you got to go 6, there's no time limits. So if you don't run roll somebody, you got to go 6, and that's going to eat up your pitching staff in a hurry because you got to play 5 pool games, and then if you're seated low, you could have to play as many as like 8 games. I got the bracket here. Let me pull it up because
it is tough. It is tough.
It is a crazy bracket.
It's 86 teams in 3 fields in 2 days.
Lord.
Look at this thing.
Good Lord.
So this Diamond Elite team we're talking about here, they were the 5 seed, so they start out right here. And they get 3 byes. So they played a team last night that had to win 3 games in a day to get to them and then play their 4th game, and they just obliterated them. So now they're out to here, and they got it's 5 versus 4 in the quarters. So going to be a great matchup, but if they can get through that thing, all bets are off. So it's a bananas thing. I'm getting more pumped every minute, just like following these guys up there and thinking about us being up there next week and staying in the barracks together and live, eat, sleep, and breathe baseball for a week and see what we can do. We are not this kind of team. Now this is a major team. It's going to test you
like no other. I mean that kind of gauntlet playing against so many quality teams. That is something you just rarely see at the point in your career to go up against some top of the top competition. I mean, not only it's going to, light that fire in you to push harder, whether it's, at the plate, on defense, or on the mound. It is going to be a test every time you take the field. And I mean, that's what you want. You want to build that quality talent in your kids. And the only way there are a couple ways to do it, but a big way to do that is to find good competition. We talk about all throughout all sports and go to it. And, to do it in a special place like Cooperstown, one of the seminal areas of baseball, of course, the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's a highlight experience of your youth baseball career for sure.
Oh man, I can't wait. Did you get up there, Mullis? Did you guys get up there, or was it going?
We didn't do that. No, It wasn't because we didn't want to. I mean, I was looking at the website today. Look at all the big leaguers that played in that thing.
It's unreal. It's unreal.
Harper.
Just about everybody's been through there.
It's pretty impressive. And it's just 12U.
Yeah, just 12U. Yeah, and we get to, I think one of the neat things
Harper
too
went
is
3 times and it's 12U.
Wait, who went 3 times?
Bryce Harper.
So he played when he was 10, 11, and 12, presumably.
He was holding his own.
Well, some of these teams fly in arms, flying people to join them for Cooperstown, which we're not going that route. We're taking the 13 we brought to the dance, and we're going to go up there and see what we can do. And one of them is, kind of on the shelf right now. So, we're babying his arms. So we really got 12 arms to go in there, and you can do the math and figure out that we might not last too long, but we're going to give it all we got and see what we can do and have a great time, make the most of it. So we've had a great season. I think we got 23 wins this season, which is a high water mark for us. So Coach told him last night, we may go up there and have success. We may go up there and not win a game, but whatever. we've won enough games this season, and we're going to go up there and give it our best and have a great time and make memories. So looking forward to that.
It is fun watching the overall growth of all the, the travel, working with when it works, working with the Dixie Youth or whoever.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see the amount of people that play baseball at a young age around here.
It really is, and it's growing every year.
It is growing every year.
The only thing I worry about is if we don't do something about field availability, we're going to have to start capping leagues, and that's going to really stifle things. And so we've got to do something about fields, especially south of the Broad, because, on the north side, you've got a pretty decent number with both of the Burton Wells parks relative to the number of players. But in Bluffton, we're outgrowing it. We've outgrown it a long time ago, and we're running into some problems. So hoping that the county council can get something done on that front. I know they've tried down a number of different paths, and I think they're back to the drawing board now.
At some point, they ought to be able to come together, and some of the school resources should be able to be used as well.
I agree. You got a lot of middle school fields sitting empty most of the year.
Just sitting around. You got a lot of, and it's still taxpayer money either way you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's Parks and Rec or schools, and they ought to be able to come together and let some of that kind of work itself out.
Yeah, well, maybe we can be the catalysts for that. We can.
Well,
be
the toughest
voices
thing
for
is
that.
lights, of course, but it stays pretty light this time of year.
Yeah,
it does, and if you let people on those fields on the weekends during the day, then lights aren't a factor.
Give them some opportunity for growth. Give them those chances. I mean, you can never have enough fields across the area to allow these kids, because you're at the end of the day you're rooting for engagement for these kids to follow the passions and that the happiness, the excitement. That should be top priority for our youth, and making memories like that. I mean, that is what we should be striving for, and we definitely have the facilities when you're looking at those community parks, but also those middle schools, elementary schools. The space is there, so hopefully
you're so landlocked.
Yeah.
It's so hard to say, okay, we want to put a complex in over here. Well,
and that's why we have a bunch with 3 fields, which aren't really big enough. Because where do you find enough land to build 6?
There's so many community homes, and it's hard. It's
so much land that has to be mitigated. I mean, that's the thing is you try to put 6 fields anywhere that big of a footprint, you're going to run into land that has to be mitigated around here unless you get out away from the coast, which is not Beaufort County anymore. So, it's a tricky situation, but certainly we need to get it done. And I think we need a bigger complex than 3 fields.
You got soccer growing like crazy. You got lacrosse growing like crazy.
And they have field availability issues too. I mean, it's
what I'm saying. It's not just a baseball thing.
It's an issue in search of a solution, and I think we're going to have to put our heads together. A bunch of different people who maybe don't always get along are going to have to put their heads together and figure something out as a community. So, it's a big deal, and we are growing here, but we have to keep up with the infrastructure and the resources to be able to make it quality. So, looking forward to seeing how these all-star teams pan out and seeing how our local kids fare up in Cooperstown this week and next. So guys, any other banter you'd like to talk about before we take a break? And then we'll have Eric Jones joining us from the Savannah Bananas in a few minutes. But what else is going on in the baseball world for you guys, baseball, softball world? Anything?
Here.
Mullis, I think you saw a big old horse throwing a pin yesterday, didn't you?
Saw a couple of them throwing yesterday. No, the college guys are back, and they're all getting ready to go their separate ways. And you got the College World Series. James Lamon. I was talking to James. James is in Nebraska playing.
Really?
Some league out there. Of course, we talked Bennett's. A bunch of these guys. It'd be interesting to see. I'd like to get any of you guys, any of the college guys that get any of the parents that are watching, get in touch with us. Let us know where they're at.
I mean, there's so many we know about the Coastal Plain League and the Cape Cod League, but there's so many different opportunities now for college summer ball across the country. It's definitely grown this last decade or so to give these kids an opportunity to stay sharp against good competition, and then for ways to get to the younger generation interested too. So it's a great thing that they're doing over there for summer ball. Obviously, the Coastal Plain League's done a heck of a job, and segueing into our guest, Savannah Bananas, they kind of outgrew it and because a couple of the factors, but no, I think Jones and definitely a lot of other of my friends played summer ball, whether it was the CPL or elsewhere. Because
there was literally like 3 leagues, 15 years ago.
The Cape, the Valley, and the CPL, and that was
the one out there,
something out in California. Yeah,
whatever, the one in Alaska too. But look at the growth of that Coastal Plains League.
Yeah,
it is crazy.
Yeah, it's bananas, if you will.
Well, it's still funny when you go home and you have to try to explain to people, like, they're pretty sure the High Toms or somebody like that can beat the single A team in town, and you're like, no, that's not quite how it works. But just, I know you want to pull for these guys, but let's pump the brakes.
Yeah, there's a reason why these guys are playing there and not have not been drafted or not on rosters in the
that other team yet. Everybody's drafted.
Yeah, exactly. But it's been fun playing with Bennett. We've only got in one full game and part of another one, but he's not throwing obviously, but playing on the infield for us, swinging the stick, and it's funny to see some of the other guys wow at him, and we're like, yeah, he doesn't get to swing it at college, boys. He's strictly.
I hope he's not watching. He's not a terrible hitter. He's
no. I mean, he went yard in his first at bat against a pretty decent pitcher. And then he doubled off the wall the next time. Dude can hit, no question. In this league, if you can hit a little bit, you can hit a lot. So it's been fun playing with him. He definitely elevates the energy and the level of play on our team for sure. So it's really cool that they've carved out this league where a guy like me and a guy like him can play on the same team and both have a good time, because that's a tricky balance. But we've found it for now, at least in this league. So it's good times. I'm not adding much, but I'm still playing, so it's fun. All right, guys. Well, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more baseball and softball until we get Eric Jones in here to talk about his journey to the Savannah Bananas. And now I believe he's the home run leader on the current Banana Ball World Tour. So that's going to be good stuff. But we'll hear from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back with more here on Lowco Diamond Dudes.
Hey, Lowco sports fans. This podcast and all of our grassroots local sports content are made possible by support from community sponsors, including Mickelson Law Firm, the official real estate attorneys of Lowco Sports, and the presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage. Our original sponsors are still among our greatest supporters. Ryan and Tiffany Mickelson are community pillars who will be in your corner no matter your legal needs. When you need legal representation, call on the attorneys who support Team Lowco. Call Mickelson Law Firm. Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, the official hospice provider of Lowco Sports, and the only not-for-profit hospice in southern Beaufort County. For more than 30 years, the committed, compassionate staff at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry have been there to ensure your loved ones find comfort, honor, and dignity at the end of life. Because at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, it's not about dying, it's about living. Homegrown Home Inspections, the official home inspectors of Lowco Sports. Jan Lucas and his team provide thorough, detailed home inspections aimed to ensure everyone goes into the transaction with open eyes and confidence. Jan would rather reveal an inconvenient truth than look the other way and provide reassurances that could come back to burn the buyer in the long run. If you're looking to buy or sell a home and need an honest, reliable inspector, call on Homegrown Home Inspections, official sponsors of Lowco Sports. DDS Web Design, official SEO experts of Lowco Sports. If your business or organization has a website and you're trying to figure out what SEO is, you need to call on Denise and Dave Sinkovich at DDS Web Design. They'll provide a free consultation and do all the behind-the-scenes work to boost your search engine optimization and get your website found online so you can take your business to the next level. DDS Web Design, official SEO experts of Lowco Sports. American Wood Reface, sustaining sponsors of Lowco Sports. Does your kitchen need a facelift? Before you start picking out new cabinets, give Ben and the team at American Wood Reface a shot. They can reface your existing cabinets to overhaul your aesthetic without the hefty price tag and reimagine your kitchen at a price point you can manage. Be sure to tell them Lowco sent you, because every referral helps support Lowco Sports. 4M Metals, sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports. Got metal? Your roof might need it. Metal roofing advantages include better energy efficiency, weather protection, longevity, a more aesthetically pleasing design, and the product is all green. So if you've been thinking about a new roof, go metal. Let 4M Metals be the difference in your roof. Jay's Barbershop. It's the talk of the town and the place to be in Ridgeland. If you need your ears lowered, head over to Jay's for a fresh cut and great conversation with good folks. And tell them Lowco sent you. Local Pie, official pizza sponsor of Lowco Sports. They sling some of the best pies in the Lowco, and my kids say the mac and cheese is the best around. Hungry? Hit up Local Pie, longtime supporter of Lowco Sports. Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry, the official floor cleaners of lowcosports.com. If your feet tell you your floors need cleaning, call on Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry. They provide residential and commercial services, including cleaning carpet and area rugs, tile and grout, upholstery, curtains and drapes, mattresses, and more. But most importantly, they'll get those floors so clean, your feet will thank them. Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry. Hilton Head Prep is a sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports, and we tell you all about the Dolphins' athletic exploits. But did you know it's also the #1 ranked private K-12 school in Beaufort County and ranks in the top 2.5% of schools nationwide? Visit hhprep.org to see what Hilton Head Prep has to offer. Beaufort Academy is a sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports, and we love covering the Eagles. With a student-to-faculty ratio of 7-1 and an average class size of 14 students, Beaufort Academy could be just the educational solution you're looking for, with more one-on-one attention. BA has a strong history of working with the whole child to prepare each student for college and life. Check them out at BeaufortAcademy.org. Thank you to all of our sustaining and supporting sponsors for their support of lowcosports.com. Go Lowco. All right, back here on another edition of the Lowco Diamond Dudes. Justin Jarrett, joined by Wes Kerr and Ned Mullis, and we've got our special guest in the studio now, Savannah Banana's home run leader on the current Banana Ball Tour, Eric Jones, old friend of Wes's from back at Davidson. What's going on, buddy? Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Doing great. Excited to be here with you guys.
So tell us about the experience of being on the Banana Ball World Tour and just, what this whirlwind has been like being a part of this unique organization.
Yeah, this year has been unlike anything I've ever experienced before. So I went on the World Tour last year that was 6 cities, played 12 total games. So we got a little taste of just how excited people are across the country and in these different cities about what we're doing. But this year has been on a whole nother scale. We're going to 33 cities. I think we've been to like 15 so far, selling out AAA stadiums, so playing in front of 12,000 regularly. And it's been really special, really cool to connect with the fans, and just fun playing on such a big stage and having a blast with it. It really feels more like an entertainer or rock star lifestyle instead of like baseball. They got you all day. You're working, interacting with people, so it's really been special and fortunate and excited to continue it.
Eric, it's great to hear from you. Just take me back through these last few years. After finishing school, I believe you played professionally for at least a bit of time. Of course, we went through the pandemic. Things were uncertain in terms of playing professionally in professional sports. But now you got this incredible opportunity with the Savannah Bananas, and not just continue to play the game, but be part of a revolutionary global tour, which has changed the game of baseball in many ways, and has spurred on a new generation. So just describe how that opportunity came to be, and how awesome it's been to be able to seize it.
Yeah, definitely, and great to see you too, Wes. And thanks for inviting me to have me on. This is fun. Yeah, so graduated 2019, went to play independent baseball right after that. Played really well, got signed by the Minnesota Twins, went to rookie ball with them, went to spring training with them in 2020, and then the pandemic happened. Felt like I was in a really good spot with that organization. They were really liking me. They were calling me Donaldson Jr. because I was leg kicking, hitting home runs. And pandemic happened. Minor league season got canceled. I got released in September and trained all year. Went to play Frontier League. Played well. Got signed by the Mariners. Hit 353 in rookie ball and single A for the Mariners. Didn't get re-signed at the end of the year. So, yeah, it's tough. That's the free agent.
You're like, what do I got to do, man?
I mean, I didn't even know at the time, but I was on a 1-year contract. So when that ran up, they were just like, yeah, we'll see if there's a fit down the road. I was just
You
like,
got old.
Yeah, seriously. No, I was 25 at the time.
Yeah.
And they'd only put me in single A. So I'm like, I'd hit good. So I'm like, well, at least let me see what I can do, like against, the best talent, because I'd done well where I'd played. But I go to so that offseason I'm training with my buddy Reese Hampton, who Charlotte is playing for the Party Animals now. He told me about this banana ball tryout, and actually during COVID, when that minor league season got canceled, I went and I played 2 games of regular baseball for the Bananas because they were the only team playing at that time.
Yeah.
So I got connected with them through that, and then heard about this banana ball tryout last spring. So I went and did that. Hit it off with the head coach, Eric Burns, who was a great dude. He liked me. We both played in Modesto, and he was like, "You're going to be a banana." And I was like, "Sweet." Had a blast doing that, and then went and played independent ball again after that World Tour last year. So I played in the Atlantic League. A lot of older guys. They just got 2 corner infielders down from AAA. So I wasn't getting to play a whole lot. It wasn't a great situation. I was looking to pivot from that. And then I got called from the Mariners asking me to be the bullpen catcher for the Major League team. So initially I was like, no, I want to play. I'm trying to make it to majors as a player. But then talking with friends, talking with family, talking with people that would have more knowledge about that role, they told me, do it. You got to experience it. It's an amazing resume. It's an amazing connection thing. And it was an unreal experience. I'm so happy that I did it. The Mariners, they were like 10 games under 500 when I joined. And we ended up making the playoffs, winning the wild card games in Toronto, and then playing a good series against Houston in the ALDS. And that was just an amazing experience. I got got to see a lot, like at that level, see how people go about the business, and just very fortunate for that opportunity. But then when it came to this off season, I told them the whole time, I was like, I want to play. So you guys, you look at me as a player, whatever, you've seen what I've done offensively in my history, like I want to play. I'm not interested in being a bullpen catcher again. They didn't offer me to play at the end of the year, and I had the opportunity with Bananas to come back, and I knew that what Bananas was doing is really special, really revolutionary, but for me, I want to play and I want to hit baseballs. So that's what it comes down to for me. And,
well, you mentioned you've been a catcher for a while. What were you able to take away from watching Cal Raleigh play, one of the best growing catchers in the game?
Cal's a great player and a great guy. Really, he's kind of the way his stance, like when he's catching, the way that he goes down on one knee, like it was a little bit different than I'd been doing it at the time. I'd kind of been keeping my foot like straighter or even tucked in, and he really like keeps his out like for nice support. And I kind of adopted that, and it makes me feel a lot more stable. But Cal's also got like a great demeanor. Like he's always just low key, there for his business, but got a smile on his face. And it's been great to see him have success and kind of become a hero in Seattle last year.
He's big as a barn door too.
That was the other thing. I shook hands with him, and it was like reminiscent. I've shook hands with Johnny Bench before, and it's like his hands just like eating my hands, and I don't think I have small hands by any means. So that's kind of like opened my eyes. Like, yeah, these are big boys in the major leagues. Like,
that's a different deal. Did you get a playoff share?
Yeah, I did. So that was huge for me because it gives me a little like breathing room. Like I haven't made a ton of money throughout professional baseball. I've done fine, but like going into this year, it's like helped me relax and like not stress about every dollar. And that was
Yeah,
really
some teams do that, some teams don't.
Yeah.
They don't all. They vote on it.
right. The players vote. But yeah, all the players and staff seem really appreciative that because they really needed a bullpen catcher. They only had one. And I think some situations had arisen where they were sending catchers from the dugout into the bullpen because they needed to get two guys hot and just not having enough people to work with their pitchers on a daily basis. So they were really, happy.
What's the big league per diem now? What were you getting daily?
$60 when we played on the road and $110 on off days.
Yeah, you can stretch that out.
Good.
That helps.
Not more 20 or 25 or whatever you used to.
Little walking around money for you. No problem there.
No.
Tell me about the adjustment to playing banana ball. Was it much of an adjustment, or is at the end of the day it's the same tools? But how much did you kind of have to recalibrate yourself to that set of rules?
No, it's a big adjustment, especially so last year, my first experience playing banana ball, just the speed of the game is the first thing that stands out to you, especially catching, where you're calling pitches, you're responsible for the game. Yeah, they really emphasize. So a big point here is we want to play all 9 innings in the 2 hours. So that requires a certain level of pace, like throwing the ball back to the pitcher, catch it, get it back. Also, you can steal first base at any time, so you have to block every pitch. So that's really the thing in banana ball that doesn't get mentioned. And other catchers, when they come play banana ball, are just so exhausted. And I get exhausted catching these games because it really is like a catching simulation going all the time. Also,
my favorite part is ball 4. How
Yeah.
did you get used to coming up and slinging that thing to left field?
Exactly. Yeah. It's different, and it's at the beginning would like sometimes catch me slightly off guard, or now we do shifts to where our infield will be all on the pull side for a left-handed hitter or something, and the way we've done it traditionally is like the throw goes to the shortstop. So now the shortstop's playing on the other side, or maybe the third baseman's over there and the throw needs to go to him. But we got all this stuff strategized out, which is part of the fun thing about playing a new sport is there's a lot of strategy that goes into it. So you're kind of seeing, or like as a team, the Bananas have picked up how to play the game better. And so when we play these challenger teams that don't have banana ball experience, there are little aspects of the game that we're able to win that, helps you win the real game.
It's like going back to youth baseball and like relearning the instincts all over again. It's hilarious.
I like how you compared it to being a rock star, because that's kind of what it is. I mean, it's number one entertainment. I mean, you're playing in front of a lot of kids, but families across the country and across the world. So just tell me about how fun it's been to have this opportunity to not just continue to play the game you love, but being able to interact with so many like celebrities who've been part of the game for a while, famous professional players, and just guys who have that same passion and drive like you playing baseball and continuing to play the sport you love.
Yeah, it's been really special. All the guys that have shown up to play for the Bananas. Last week in Nashville, Barry Zito pitched for us, and that was like a pretty surreal one for me. Like I read his book and it had a big impact on me. And guys like Dustin Pedroia, Shane Victorino, we've had just like an all-star cast out there this year, and it's been really cool, very surreal, and just to see their reactions, like how excited they are about it. Like all these guys are very, very stoked on it, and they want to, see it continue to grow, and they want to be a part of it. So that's very validating for us. The other aspect of it is like you get used to when you're playing baseball, you just like drown the crowd out. On banana ball, it's a lot more of like, how can you interact with the crowd? Mm-hmm. How can you be a performer? How can you be a showman? Like what little flair can you put on your game? So that's just been a really cool and fun experience as we keep playing in front of more and more people. It really like gives you a lot of energy. And that adrenaline rush of just being in front of people. Really special, and it's a lot of fun.
Plus, you can hit a walk-off home run any inning. That's pretty cool.
And it's all about how you celebrate that, right? So then it's not just about hitting the home run. It's like, what are you going to do?
What's been the best celly so far of your time with the Bananas?
We've done a couple times like the Prince Fielder where you jump, land on the plate, everybody like explodes around the ball. Like bring out the scale to home plate and they like weigh you in. That's fun. We have a guitar right now. So we had it in Nashville. In Nashville, the park just played huge. But we got a guitar that they want you to come play down the third baseline and then smash. And I've hit the wall like 3 or 4 times since we've had that guitar out. So need to get that one. Because then the other thing is with Bananas, it's all about the clips. So it's like, what can you do to like create this like cool viral moment too? And they're thinking about
you always got to try to one up yourself and your teammates. I mean, you got to have some acting chops, some creativity, and you can't give it away because somebody might steal your idea, right?
Right. Yeah, and there's a lot of idea sharing that goes on. We all want to see each other succeed, but definitely like you're trying to make a name for yourself. You're trying to stand out, trying to do stuff that catches eyes, basically.
You got any trick shots or anything you've been working on behind the plate? You got some magic tricks?
There, it was like, you got to figure these out. So I started going between the legs.
Are you the dude that does that?
So I do it. I can't say I created it. Bill Leroy is really the like king of the trick stuff back there. I've learned a lot from Bill. We work together.
Look, I caught all my life, and I got to be honest with you, none of that ever crossed my mind.
I know. And then you start opening your mind to, like, what else can you do? Like, what's possible? Like, how can you put flair on the catch, the throw, the transfer?
Man, I watched some of that transfer stuff that guy was doing, and you're like, wow, that's pretty impressive.
It's amazing. Really talented. A lot of practice goes into it. But then it just starts becoming second nature, and if you do 10 funky transfers and then you throw one regular down to second, you're like, wow, this is easy. Like, I can't believe I ever, like, thought twice about throwing the ball down to second or whatever.
Well, you are the home run leader so far for the season. Tell me about how you're swinging the bat this year.
Yeah, that's the other thing that's been different is, like, our schedule. We're only playing 2 to 3 games a week. So it's like every week and you kind of have to, like, dial back in your swing. Like, yeah, obviously you're practicing during the week, but it's just different facing live arms. But yeah, coming into the season, I felt great. I trained all off season. Really felt like I got my swing in a good place. Came out smacking the ball, and it really hit well consistently. But yeah, it has felt that just like, you have to get it dialed back in week to week. You're traveling a lot. You're exhausted after playing these games. So like on Sundays, you're resting. But yeah, I felt really good. I've always been like a student of the game and of swings in general. So I just feel like I'm in a really good place. I feel like I can hit anything, really.
Don't you see the same guys a lot too? So that probably.
Yeah, which goes both ways.
That goes both ways. You're exactly right.
They know your weaknesses too.
So they don't it feels like they want to nibble at me a lot. And sometimes it's changed some, but the strike zone was larger at the beginning of the season. It's gotten better now, but I like playing the guys that don't.
Well, it's not easy to call balls and strikes when you're turning a damn somersault back there.
Exactly. He's dancing. He's putting on an amazing performance, ringing people up with celebrations you've never seen. So it's been he does an amazing job. But, yeah, from the player's perspective, if I can face a guy that hasn't seen me before, that wants to groove me a fastball or a little loopy hanger, that's what I like right there.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
how's the pitching? Yeah, go ahead.
Eric, the college baseball playoffs are underway. I just want you to describe it. It's been a couple of years now since that incredible run to the Super Regionals with Davidson. Just recount that experience and how crazy and how amazing that was to go on that run with some great people.
Yeah, that was a once-in-a-lifetime experience that really kind of felt like larger than life to have the whole community like swarming around you and the whole state really. yeah, it really kind of like put the bow on like my Davidson experience for me. Like that was definitely the highlight. To win the conference tournament and then to go into Chapel Hill, which is like where all my family went. That's where I grew up wanting to go to school. And to go in there and beat them twice on their field was really special and something I'll remember forever. And then to go play 2 games at Texas A&M, which at the time felt just like the biggest stage ever. And to compete with them and to play two heartbreaking games. That whole experience really was just like college for me. And like now I told my dad this, which he was shocked, but like it feels like the most I've wanted to win since that run. Where it's just like everybody doing everything they can to possibly win. And that's kind of how this has felt, that they fielded a really good team to play against us, the Party Animals. They've got a lot of draft picks. They've got guys with lots of professional experience. So they're playing against us. They want to win. And like we know as the Bananas just how much better the show is, how much better the experience for the fans is when we win. So we take that very personally. And
yeah, they definitely feel good teams. We had a kid, Winland played with the Aussie team.
Yeah.
This week.
Awesome.
Oh, really?
They were great.
All right.
They had so much fun. They brought lots of entertainment. They came to play banana ball. Some of the challengers that we play, they want to play baseball. Their baseball teams, whatever. They're not really looking to be a showman or bring flair or whatever. These guys, they understood the assignment and they were
yeah, I mean, Paul, that kid they brought up, he can play a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
he hit it. And,
that's
I mean,
the other thing too. This is real baseball.
yeah, they're not running. You know, they're running good players out there.
Yeah.
How's the pitching compare to what you saw at, rookie ball, single A?
Yeah. It's solid. It's definitely professional level pitching. We have guys that either dominated college ball or have a track record of success in professional baseball. We just had a guy join our team a couple weeks ago that just finished up in AAA. So we got top end arms. We saw some guys. So we play with yellow balls. Right. That just got created this year. Saw some guys like with some trouble with the breaking balls, with the seams and stuff. Some of our splitter guys had some troubles at the beginning of the year. So we were seeing lots of fastballs, but as guys have adjusted, they've continued to get better. The umpires continue to get better. And it's really just like they're putting a really good product on the field from a baseball standpoint. And the entertainment's always been there.
Yeah.
I imagine it takes a little while to adjust to just like the distractions, the pitcher might be wearing a different hat every time he delivers a pitch or whatever.
When I tried out for the team 2 years ago, we got a guy that's on our team still, Christian Dearman. He goes by Mr. Electric. He was wearing nothing but underwear, nothing but tighty whities with a banana on the front. And he's like up there moving his hips, dancing and stuff. And he throws me like 3 huge sweepers and I strike out. I'm like, what just happened? Like, what did I get myself into? Am I even like hitting anymore? But once you see the tricks, you just know to like trust your eyes. And also like I felt like I needed to simplify my load and everything. Like I didn't want to have this like huge big load that like took a lot of time to time up when people are trying to mess with your timing. So you keep it simple. You learn how to play the game well. But there's definitely an adjustment period.
I don't think even as a kid, you and some of these guys would ever dream of doing anything like this. Tell me about some of the other craziest moments or memories that you've had so far while playing with Bananas.
One really stands out for me. First weekend, we were in West Palm Beach, and there's this little girl in a wheelchair that just like was so excited to be there, wouldn't stop asking questions, like, asking about our bats and our uniforms and where we're from. Every little detail. She just had so much life. And she was like, can we go on the field? Like, and I was like, sure. Like, let's go around the bases together. So we kind of she had it was electric. She had her wheelchair, was going around the bases. And I was walking around the bases talking with her. And when we get around third base, we see the whole team is waiting for her to come home. And she just like, got so excited. She was like shaking, like couldn't control herself. She comes home. The whole team like picks her up and is celebrating with her. and her dad's like there filming the whole thing, and like he's crying, and it was just like one of those experiences where you're just like, this is bigger than playing baseball. Like, this is bigger than anything I've ever done before. Like, we're on a platform right now that people like really, it means a lot to them, and they watch us on social media or whatever. So when they get the chance to see us in person, you have that opportunity to really like make somebody's day, and we try to take that very seriously.
Well, you're making it, because I saw a tweet come out the other day of Wilson put out their custom gloves for the week for the College World Series, and one of them was the Bananas glove. So, when you're getting those guys, you're moving the needle.
Yeah, Wilson's been really good to us as the official sponsor, and it's like they've got Louisville Slugger and Evo Shield too, kind of all under one umbrella. They hooked us up with some really nice looking gloves at the beginning of the year. We got the decked out Evo Shields and stuff, so we got our on-field swag looking good, and that's a big piece of the whole performer aspect.
Oh, absolutely. And look how quick it's already starting to, filter its way into the college stuff, and it'll be professional too.
Yeah.
That those guys, that definitely is part of it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where this thing goes. I mean, it's definitely got legs and scalability, and we may see a full-fledged banana ball league before all is said and done. Because these guys, I mean, I've been impressed with the leadership of that organization. When I worked at USCB, we partnered with them to host an NAIA opening round at Grayson right before they started their first season, and got to know Jarrett Orton really well, the president. And, I've stayed in touch with him over the years, and it's just been so cool to watch them evolve and build this thing. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see how much they scale it and how many people end up playing banana ball as a career, because it's a whole new path that you never could have imagined when you started out playing the game and had dreams of playing professional baseball. You never dreamed of anything quite like this. We're in a whole new world now. So it's a really cool thing. But thanks so much, Eric. We appreciate you, man. And it was great to talk with you, get some insight from an actual banana. And what are your plans going forward when you wrap up this world tour? Are you going to go back to playing some real baseball, or are you a banana ball guy all the way now?
I would love to play some more real baseball in my life. Would love to make something happen in the winter leagues. This Australian team just came over. The Australian Baseball League is like a great destination for people to play. I'd love to try to make something like that happen. Play some winter ball, keep working on my craft, stay sharp. But yeah, ultimately it'll be just training, getting ready for the next year. Like you just said, a league actually is the plan for the future. Yeah. They want to have that league by 2025 or 2026 or something. And they said that we're going to be in multiple MLB stadiums next year. So, yeah, so the future is bright. That's something like I just can't wait for. I'm so excited. Even just playing in these nice minor league stadiums has been great, but an opportunity to play on a major league field, that's why you do it.
It's a path that you never thought you'd be able to blaze. It's an unconventional path, but you seize the opportunity, and I think the future is incredibly bright for both yourself and that Bananas organization.
Thank you. That's how I view it too, and I'm just excited to be a part of it and want to continue to do my job well and continue to grow the Bananas brand and be an ambassador for it. And just thankful for you guys having me on. This was a blast, and glad I was able to share a little bit, and hope to see you guys at a game soon.
Yeah, man. Hope we can catch up with you down the road when you make some more headlines, hit some more bombs. So thanks so much, Eric. We appreciate you, and keep doing a great job out there entertaining the fans and playing ball for the Bananas.
Hey, you got it. Thanks, guys. Go Bananas. Good to see you, Wes.
Good to see you.
All right. Thanks so much to Eric Jones. Good stuff there, guys. Really great insight from a real live banana. It's been really cool to watch that thing grow, and it was great to talk to somebody who's a part of it. So just a couple other things to get to here, guys, before we wrap it up, closing in on an hour. But we talked a little NCAA baseball, but man, it's been a heck of a tournament. We've had some incredible runs. ORU going to Omaha. How about that? That's big time. But what has stood out to you during this NCAA baseball tournament?
Who, me?
Anybody? Either one.
A lot of upsets. I mean, that's been the norm
Most
these last few years over at this level in the NCAA tournament. But Wake Forest, good for them. That's the program that's been trying to get up there at the same spot as some of these other top schools in the ACC. Good to see a team from the Carolinas get to Omaha. I mean, we had a couple come close. South Carolina lost to Florida in the Supers, and then Clemson with all those high expectations after hosting the regional, losing that lengthy nail biter against Tennessee, and just fizzled out there. But it is tough. It is a grind, and Eric knows this very well, how difficult it is and how rewarding it is to advance past the regional into a super regional, because it is incredibly difficult, especially having to go to a road ballpark and having to win there, and many times twice over the home team, which is normally one of the top teams in the country, and being able to do that as a 4 seed sometimes. I mean, that's absolutely bonkers, bananas to be able to pull that off. To see those upsets, it's always cool. I mean, you love to see those smaller schools. We talk about any sports, March Madness, etc. The Cinderella schools. That's always been a fun part of watching these college sports. And you look at some of these schools like Oral Roberts. It's fun to see some of the underdogs make a run, and it's very rare to see the number 1, number 2 seeds make it all the way. Just because it's a grind to win those regionals. You're going to have at least one other team, if not 2 other teams, and then there's always that 4 seed that can sneak up. So it's never easy to win that many games in such a short period. But Coastal Carolina, Darren Hoare, I mean, that's the experience that he's going to build off of. Certainly not the outcome that he wanted, but to get that experience in a big time postseason experience like that, it's huge.
Poor Bugs got dinked to death by 70-mile-an-hour exit velos.
Yeah, he wasn't very happy about that yesterday.
Most he said it was kind of he thought it was a meant to be thing, because they scored 9 runs in the inning, and they all had number 9 on their hat for a coach who wasn't with them or something, health problem. So it felt like a one of those universe things working against him. But
the take home thing is the arms. Yeah. Look at the arms that are thrown. I mean, look at that Skeens guy. That's a big leaguer. Watch Tennessee. I mean, they just keep running 97, 98. Everybody coming out of that pen is throwing just, it's amazing to watch the arms right now. And
and then the kid from Stanford who threw 150 some pitches.
And you know what though? But you're watching him, he was a pitcher.
Yeah. He was absolutely a pitcher.
It wasn't a whole lot of max effort. He was using different gears. I mean, he would throw. He'd throw a 75-mile-an-hour curveball and then a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. I mean, he pitched. And you get into that, it's so much different up there. You take a guy like that, he ain't planning on playing professional baseball.
Right.
Man, he's ready to shut it down. He's going to give everything he's got.
And that's what I said is, if it's a guy who's got big league, aspirations, you're probably not letting him do that. But if it's a guy who's never going to pitch again after today, I mean, and he wants to go, he knows his body. Let's let him go.
That's exactly right. It ain't a high school kid where you throw him to death. It's a guy, it's a grown man that, he's giving everything he's got. Yeah. And, but boy, I tell you what, you are going to see, man, how about that lower half of that bracket? You got LSU down there. You got Tennessee down there. You got, that bracket, that lower half is stacked, and it's gonna be interesting.
It is going to be a blast.
And Wake Forest is kind of like the new Vanderbilt.
Wake Forest is rolling, man. They are rolling.
Wilson was telling me their best pitcher's not even pitching.
Well,
he's hurt.
I don't know, man. You're right. That lower half of the bracket is absolutely stacked because you got ORU and TCU both snuck into the top half.
And UVA's up there too, right?
Yeah, well, UVA and Florida have to square off in the first round, and LSU and Tennessee have to square off in the first round. So that's going to be.
So UVA's in the bottom half. I couldn't remember.
UVA, Florida, ORU, and TCU are together, and then
Yeah,
Wake
I think
Forest,
whoever wins
Stanford,
that,
LSU,
I
and
think whoever
Tennessee.
wins that UVA Florida game is going to be in a really good spot. I think both of those teams have the firepower to take it all the way. So I think that game's going to be huge. Then the other half is going to be an absolute war. I mean, you got Wake. I mean, you got a bunch of quality squads who could really all. It's
I
there's so
saw
many
Wake in
mini-
person.
Yeah.
I saw
They're
Wake.
very good.
I saw Wake play 2 games at Clemson. Clemson had won like 3 in a row, and then they played Wake Forest and got swept at home. And then they went and played. Then they won 18 in a row. So, I mean, it wasn't like Clemson was playing bad, and Wake was better. I mean, they can win this thing. Wake can win this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're the favorite to win this thing. I mean, LSU is going to be a problem, but not as much as they are in Baton Rouge. I mean, that's a big factor.
I don't know, man, but they got a bunch of good ball players, and they look
really
awfully focused.
How about that catcher for Stanford too? Man, that dude can swing it.
And did some guy
got a
throw over
bunch of home
150
runs.
pitches or something?
Yeah, we talked about that while your computer
Yeah.
was dead. 156 pitches. But that's a guy who, if they lose that game, he's never pitching again. So
Right. No,
I
and
his
that was
interview
the
after the
thing
game
with
too.
Gaines.
I'll get you 3 tomorrow.
We had a
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, he was-
that-
They interviewed him the next day, and
Yeah.
he said he had an inning if they needed
Yeah,
him.
I'll get you 3 outs tomorrow.
There's there are players that are going to play in the professional. Then there's some guys who just leave it all out there because they know this is it, and they're gonna, expend all their energy left to try to make some memories and win the national championship.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to take Wake if I was picking a winner, just based on what they've done up to this point. I mean, 22-5 to close out the Super. Come on, that's
I hope all the
unheard of.
kids. I know we get a lot of kids watch this with their parents. I hope the kids watch this because I know this is what got me interested in baseball.
Yeah,
Watching Texas
College
and
World Series.
those guys. The College World Series was the first time you get to hear that ping. That's what you're used to.
Yeah, yep.
And
Yep.
you kind of that was the first time I really got into college baseball was watching the World Series when I was 10, 11-year-old with Will Clark and Palmeiro and those guys. And
For me, it was like when Wichita State would make a run, I'd really get into it just because they were from my home state. Texas, Miami, Texas A&M, just all the
Or South
powerhouse
Carolina for me in
programs.
the early 2010s. Everybody was talking about South Carolina when they won back-to-back College World Series.
Oh yeah, well that was a blast. Yeah, that was way fun. Wingo,
Jackie
Ocho
Bradley
Wingo.
Jr.
Michael Raw,
Yep.
Michael Roth. Oh, he was a dude.
Andy
He
Pettit.
was unreal during that run. But how about that Oklahoma softball team? My goodness, juggernaut.
Oh, where y'all at? Hey, we had a conversation about this yesterday. Real quick, I know we don't want to go long, but where y'all at with that pitcher leaving in the portal?
That is interesting. The ace going to Nebraska. That's very interesting.
I
don't know what to
I
make
tell
of
you,
that.
normally I'm an anti-portal guy. But,
pro
she
portal.
wants to go play in front of her parents that can make that trip,
Yep.
and
I get it.
hey, she went there and got them a ring. She did her job.
Yeah.
Now go play, do what you got to do, And
see what you can do somewhere else because Oklahoma,
Oklahoma,
they're going to be right there with or without you.
I don't want to sit there and I don't want to hear them bitch or complain about the portal because they live and die by that portal.
Oh yeah, they eat them up in there.
So don't complain when your big dog left.
Yep.
I mean, that's why I get
that's why the portal's there. I mean, that's why it's there because you went to a place and you realize that that's not where your happiness lies. You want to be closer to home. Your parents want to see you play. That's why the portal exists because I made a decision and I regret it and I'd like to go a different direction. And we ought to be able to give 18-year-olds that courtesy.
Yeah.
You would think.
But I wanted to pose the question. This Oklahoma softball team finishing the season 61-1. Their only loss was back on February 19th to Baylor. They finished the season on a 53-game winning streak, ended up taking home the championship. But just one of the most dominant teams that we'll ever see. And Clemson gave them all they had.
And Clemson gave them all they wanted.
Yeah. But is this one of the best college sports teams we've ever seen?
I think it's one of them, but I think you got to go back to the old wooden UCLA teams, right? I mean, they had back-to-back undefeated seasons. That was pretty unreal. Some of those UConn women's teams were just out of this world dominant. Some of the Tennessee women's teams, I don't know. It's hard to say. But certainly, I mean, softball and baseball are definitely
UNC
games where
won 11 in a row.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's really true.
You know,
yeah, that's hard to argue with. But I would say one thing about baseball and softball is it's really hard to not lose games. I mean, any given team almost can beat any given team, and softball less so than baseball because you can throw the same arm out there so often.
How about the atmosphere of just watching?
It's also not fair they get to play that thing in Oklahoma City every year.
That to me that seems.
It's in their backyard. I mean, that's kind of like when we were in NAIA at USCB and we talked about the unfair advantage that Lewis and Clark had because they get to host the NAIA World Series every year and they're automatically in it. The recruiting advantage that you gain from that is unreal. I mean, you're guaranteed to play in
national championship every year.
However many years of eligibility you have, you're playing in the World Series every year you're here. And
they were always good.
Real good. You want to talk about the portal. I mean, you get a bunch of dudes from D1 and D2 transferring into that place.
I had in my notes here to ask that guy, and I forgot to ask him. I knew he had played in the independent league. I was wondering what he thought being a catcher in that strike zone, the TrackMan strike zone.
Oh, yeah, with the automated.
Because I would go when my dad was sick.
You can't steal those strikes framing.
They had an independent league ballpark literally right across the street from the hospital. So I'd go over there and watch some baseball. And they had that thing. They had the big bases. They had the no shift. They had the thing where they would radio down to the umpire. It was pretty cool. And I just wonder what a player thought of it. So, because that thing's coming. When they're doing it in the independent league, it's coming to the big leagues.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's coming. I think they're going to tweak it a little bit. I think it's going to be a challenge system that allows the catchers to steal some strikes, framing, because I think that's going to be a sticking point with the union. But I think there's going to be some variation.
And I'd like to see it where it was like tennis, where that thing,
it's automatic.
Let that whole thing light up red, or whatever. I think
you missed it.
As long
you
as
missed it.
The clapping before they feel like in Wimbledon.
But I'll tell you, the umpires are bringing it on themselves.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if they're just under an enormous amount of pressure. I don't know if it's just hard. I don't know, but
it's real hard.
We had a
perfect
game in the World Series last year. If there's a great Twitter account on Scorecards, they have scorecards.
Auditor, baby. I look at it every morning.
I love an umpire perfect game, man. That's amazing. That's amazing. You don't see many of those.
I used to pick on Johnny, my favorite umpire down in Lowcountry, best guy in the world. I mean, you can't ask for a better person. And I showed him that Twitter account one day, and I was like, God almighty, I'd like to have you on this thing tomorrow. And he was like, no man.
Well, guys, I think we've taken up enough of everybody's time. I thought we were going to come up short today, and here we are at an hour.
That was a good show. That guy was a good guy. That was a really good call, man. Good dude.
That was a great poll, absolutely. But I had a great time talking.
We need to talk to him. We ought to do a live remote for one of those things one time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can get those guys to stand. They'd come over there and talk during the game.
Oh heck yeah! I'll hit up Jarrett Orton and see what we can get done. He's played with me before. He's been on another one of my short-lived podcasts that was out in out in left field that he was into. So, they're open to creativity. So we'll definitely get them involved. But thanks so much to everybody who showed up to listen or watch today. Thanks to our sponsors. And thanks a million to Eric Jones for jumping on and talking bananas with us. Great poll there, Wes. It was a great show. We enjoyed it. And we'll be back soon to get you caught up on all these all-star teams, as well as what's going on with the summer leagues with our Lowco folks, and much more here on Lowco Diamond Dudes. We're going to keep it rolling. As long as there's baseball being played, we'll be talking baseball here on Lowco Diamond Dudes. So that does it for this episode. Thanks so much to everyone involved. And until next time, go Lowco.